All right, all right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's been, I don't know, like 2 years or something. Let me look, but I think it's been 4 freaking years. 4 years since I've bothered posting anything on this YouTube channel. But I am back here now to continue and hopefully complete what I got started. Obviously, in order for me to have any success with this channel, I'm going to need you guys' support. So I hope that you guys will be willing to take the time out of your day to actually tune in and listen to the things that I have to say this time around. Because 4 years ago, despite the quality of the content that I was making being extraordinarily valuable and important for people to be hearing, I'm looking at all 45 videos that I posted, and I never got more than like 10 or 11 views. 13. Nope. Oh, snap. I got 41 views on one video, 24 on another one, but then the third place video is 13 views. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I actually just quit and gave up and figured that I would, instead of trying to share my perspective and opinion with people, focus on my own spiritual development. But here I am, back once more, because everything in my life is aligning. And I really do believe that it is possible that the collective is finally ready for the type of information and knowledge that I have to share with the collective conscious. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get into the topic of the video, and then I'm gonna do something that I probably should do since it's been so long since I've posted on this channel, which is just give you guys a little bit of a brief rundown of who I am, where I'm at in life, and what the purpose of this YouTube channel is. That way you guys know what value you can expect me to bring to the table in the coming weeks, months, years, and whatnot. So the topic of this video is going to be a topic that is extremely, extremely, extremely important. So important, in fact, that to ignore it would be absolutely ignorant, in my opinion. And so let's go ahead and get into it. What the topic is for this video is essentially that we are not moving into the age of Aquarius, guys. We are not. It's not happening. We're not going to do it. You know why? Because the age of Aquarius is an imaginary age. It doesn't actually exist. It's just a concept to describe a evolutionary process that every single entity on planet Earth experiences. Actually, in fact, both celestial bodies in our sky, both the moon and the sun, have cycles in which they go through the 12 different zodiac signs, right? So if you want to get serious about things, we go through all 12 ages every 28 and a half days. Our lunar bodies, which I would love to shout out this one lady who pretty much was the source of my understanding of the lunar body, the solar body, and just all things regarding the connection between the macrocosm and the microcosm, chasm, whatever. And her name is Kelly Marie Kerr. I'll go ahead and put some text up on screen if I'm able to, but it's just Kelly with two L's, Marie, Marie, and then Kerr. And I'm just saying that in case I forget to put the text up. So yeah, she's freaking amazing, and she's the person who educated me about the lunar and solar bodies. And so it's important for us to recognize that as a collective, or even just as individuals, We're going through all 12 ages every 28 and a half days. But what are we? What makes us an individual versus a collective? You know what I mean? What's the difference there? All right? And so the difference is that as an individual, we are what we identify as. As a collective, we are what all of our perspectives together are able to manifest into the world. And so the lunar body is one aspect of ourselves. In fact, it is, in my opinion, most closely correlated to the emotional body or the etheric body of a human being. Although it does have a extreme significance to the mental body of a person as well. And so every 28 and a half days, our lunar bodies, as above, so below, right? Our lunar bodies travel through all 12 of the different zodiac signs. And in case you didn't know, each one of the zodiac signs is connected and tied to a aspect of the human body, all right? And so that being the case, that is the part of the collective that is being healed and essentially evolving at that particular time. So when the moon is in Pisces, right, what is happening is anybody who is born at the time, you know, from whenever to whenever a person's sun sign is, which is your primary sign, the one that you could find just by typing into Google, what is my sun sign? What is my Western zodiac sun sign? And then it'll ask you what your birth date is, type that in, and it'll tell you what your sun sign is. Whatever your sun sign is, every time the moon comes into that zodiac, it is your opportunity to actually evolve. It is your opportunity to actually heal. And based on which sun sign you belong to, you are able to be more closely identified as an individual, or I'm sorry, it's not that you're able to do anything you put your mind to, but you are most likely to be identified most with that part of the body that your sun sign is in. So if you're a Pisces, right, that governs the crown chakra and the pineal gland, so you're most likely going to be heavily identified with your imagination. If you're an Aries, then you're probably going to be highly identified with your appearance and the way that you present yourself in the world, because Aries governs the head. If you're a Taurus like myself, then your voice is probably the most important aspect of yourself. But more importantly, even than speaking, is to simply listen. Because if it wasn't for my ability to listen, I wouldn't have ever came back to begin making this YouTube channel. I'd never have known when everybody was ready to actually listen to what I have to say. Because that's how it works, right? When you're in a conversation with somebody, you can't figure out when they're ready to listen unless you're listening to them. And I know it's a weird concept, but just think about that for a second. Try it out, and I bet your ability to communicate with others will become extraordinarily improved. And so I don't want to go through the whole 12 zodiac sign because it's really irrelevant. Again, all imaginary constructs, but it is our imagination that creates reality. It creates our perspective of reality. And so all of our perspectives of reality linked together is what creates the actual cosmos. But that's concept for later videos. I'm sure I honestly touched on that shit hundreds of times in the previous videos on this channel. But what I'm trying to talk about in this video, before we get into a little bit more of a rundown of what I'm going to be bringing to you guys in the future and my own personal situation in life and whatnot, is going to be to help you guys understand again that we are not moving into a 2,000-year-long age of Pisces. We literally travel through all 12 signs. Our emotional bodies, which is highly connected to both our physical bodies and our mental bodies, every 28 days, okay? And so I intend on at some point building a course for you guys to actually give you guys all the tools that you need to be able to figure out exactly where we are at, where you as an individual are at on this evolutionary timeline, so that you can begin to step into your rightful power and take advantage of these opportunities when they come around. Because when they come around, you will notice that you have higher levels of energy when the moon is in your sun sign, and you will notice that you have a greatly enhanced ability to manifest, connect with others, and anything of that nature. So this is very, very important stuff to take into consideration. But even more important than knowing that we are every 28 days going through this cycle is understanding, thank you again to Kelly Marie Kerr or whatever it is, but hopefully I'll be able to hear it from her at some point. But yeah, like, that's just one of the celestial bodies in the sky. And as above, so below. As within, so without, right? So then we have to take into consideration the orbit of the sun, right, around that same zodiac sign. And how long does it take for the sun to rotate along that whole entire, whatever you call it, gravitational circulation or whatever. 365 days, right? It takes 1 year for the sun to go in a full circle around the earth, meaning that it travels through, from our perspective as a collective, it travels through every single zodiac sign every 365 days. So how could this make sense? We're going from, okay, every age is 2,000 years long, to now every age is only 28 and a half days long, to all of a sudden now each age is 365 days long? How does this make sense? Well, you see, with your sun sign, each 28 and a half day period in which the moon orbits through the entirety of the zodiac, right, is equivalent essentially to one sun sign. That's just an easy way to picture it. It's a little more complicated than that because certain zodiac signs possess less space in the sky. But again, that doesn't mean that that person is any less of a person, because all of these concepts are imaginary, meaning that whatever value you assign to yourself is what you are going to manifest into your life. So you could essentially claim yourself to be all 12 zodiac signs, but I highly recommend not doing that because it is essentially the most difficult challenge that anybody could ever take up in their life. But what is important for those of you who are now finally ready to begin integrating the type of information that I have to share with you guys into your lives, what is important to take into consideration is that your sun sign is your mental body and your physical body, in a sense. Again, shout out to Kelly Marie Kerr. She needs to have a much bigger following, guys, but your solar body is the mineral salts that make up the entire chemistry, the entire anatomy of your body. So essentially, your bones, right? They take longer to grow than, say, tissue. And tissue takes less time to grow than, say, muscles. Right? And what is a muscle, or what are the three most important muscles? The three most important muscles would be the brain, the heart, and then, whatever's down there, depending on which gender you assign with. And so, basically, guys, when the sun is in your zodiac sign, which again you can find just by typing it into Google, what is my zodiac sign, that is the time where you are in the highest potential to manifest. Time is speeded up for you individually. Nobody else, unless they belong to the same sun sign as you, at that moment have the potential to actually create and manifest your imagination into the world as fast and as easily, okay? And the reason that is because your mineral body, your solar body, is what is responsible for creating your brain. How is that the case? Because our mineral body is what we create by eating. That which we consume is what feeds us minerals. And if we don't eat for a certain period of time, what happens first? The first thing that happens is our brains, the most important muscle in our body, begins to shut down. Okay, so our solar bodies, let me go ahead and start in a linear fashion. Our lunar bodies is most connected to our emotional and or etheric body. Our etheric body is the fluids in our body, the actual blood, the actual water that's flowing through our veins at all times. Where on the flip side, our solar body is the actual chemicals that create our bones, the structure of our anatomy, and that feed into our muscles. And additionally, the solar body, the way that it begins taking form is through breath. Because without our breath, obviously our brain would shut down even quicker than if we stopped eating, right? Matter of seconds. So that's why our solar body is most connected to air, because obviously, maybe it's not obvious to everybody, but the sun is blowing on us at all times. And when we feel this, we know that it is giving us the chemicals that we need in order to regenerate our muscles, our brain, our heart, and our sexual energies. And this happens every 365 days. And so, in order to figure out when this will happen for you, all you have to do is figure out what your sun sign is, figure out at which time your sun sign is going to be in the sky. And then that is when internally you're going to be in the position of authority over the rest of creation. Unless, of course, there are other people who identify with that particular sun sign. So then it's important to recognize that there's a lot that goes into actually elevating your conscience from one sun sign to the next sun sign. They're each their own schools. They're each their own entire lifetimes. Most people spend an entire lifetime, if not several lifetimes, mastering each sign. That's why in the past people thought it was a 2,000-year process to travel through a single sign, but it's not the case anymore because knowledge is power, and I'm trying to give you guys the knowledge that you need to manifest instantly. And in order to do that, all you need to understand is when is your opportunity, and then plan your life around that accordingly. But before we get too much into this information, I want to just clarify one thing before going into my current predicament, why I'm starting this channel again, and what you guys have to expect from me in the future, is this one thing, okay? And I'm sorry I waited all the way until 19 and a half minutes to say this, but it probably happened for a reason, because anybody who wasn't patient and interested in this type of stuff is not going to be able to hear this, which is the only part of everything that I just said that is relevant to you right now. okay? Because, you know, maybe the moon comes into your sign in 2.5 weeks, so you have time to prepare for that. Maybe your sun sign is coming in 6 months, so you have a ton of time to prepare for that, right? You can do research, you can learn more about it, and you can question and hypothesize about whether or not the things I'm saying is actually factual or not. And hopefully I'll be able to supply you guys with all the evidence you need to believe in your own abilities to manifest anything that you desire at a very rapid pace. But the most important thing for you guys to realize right now is, again, we are not moving into the age of Aquarius, okay? Because the sun sign, or the sun and the moon, right, they're traveling around Earth, okay? Traveling around Earth. And typically, if you go to any site that actually shows you how your sun sign is rotating, how your moon sign is rotating around the zodiac, you'll notice something interesting. It doesn't actually go up. It doesn't go from Aquarius to Capricorn to Sagittarius to Scorpio, etc. It goes down. It goes from Pisces to Aries to Taurus, etc. So, the massively blown out of proportion and publicized idea that we are moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius is false news. It's misinformation. And it is essentially an attempt to manifest the apocalypse, more or less. Real quick, I want to clarify something. When I say falling versus rising, I don't want you guys to think that I mean like falling from grace, because I understand that that could be something that people might perceive from what I just had. What I want you guys to realize is that moving from Pisces to Aries is stepping back into alignment with the natural rotation of the universe instead of trying to flip it around. Because, I mean, I don't want to scare anybody, but if everything that I'm saying is true, then we have the ability as a collective to manifest Armageddon by stepping out of alignment with the natural rotation of the celestial bodies in the sky. And what do you think that is going to happen in the crust or under the crust at the core of the earth if we try to turn the entire script, if we try to flip the script? Obviously what's going to happen is the poles, the magnetic poles of the planet is going to shift, which is going to result in another massive flood. So I just wanted to throw that in there real quick so you guys didn't think that I was somehow like indoctrinated into a satanic cult or something. I mean, that should be relatively evident by not only everything that I'm saying, but everything I've said in previous videos, as well as the types of people that I'm trying to promote. But anyways, I'll let you get back to it. Sorry, it was just like a little piece of hair that was floating through the camera. But speaking of hair, you know, top of your head, Pisces, the age we're supposedly in, according to scientists and anybody else who wants to voice their opinions without doing inner work and just going off of past information instead of using the present moment as a way to reflect upon the microcosm, macrocosm, and actually gaining understanding in gnosis, which is an interesting word. I advise you looking up. Gnosis. Speaking of gnosis, like, think of Star Wars, Geonosis, you know? Like, you remember the little flying guys from Star Wars? Same thing, you know? The whole entire geography of that planet and the entire structure of it is basically based around the people who possess this type of knowledge. And a lot of them are trying to assist A lot of them are really, really doing everything that they can to assist people in waking up, but they haven't been ready. And because they haven't been ready, what is the next move? I mean, if unconsciousness yields suffering and pain, then obviously there comes a point where, as a collective, we are not willing to suffer anymore. And so at that point, it's no longer worth actually sharing the experience of Gnosis with others, because they're not people who we want to share Gnosis with. We don't want to experience life with them. And when I say we, I'm talking about the people who have knowledge of the microcosm, the macrocosm and the microcosm, and how that gives them the ability to manifest. Because it is through that knowledge that people are able to do things like create music, and do things like write books, and do things such as produce movies, because there are particular times during the year that they will find success in doing so. And if they try to do things out of alignment with the collective, then it's not going to work. And so the most important thing to recognize, guys, is we don't want to go all the way back to the start. We don't want to go from Pisces to Aquarius. Not only is it completely impossible, not only does it not make any sense by the way that the rotation of the planet goes, like, it's delusional to think that we can literally shift the entire rotation of the sun with our imagination. Like, yes, with a propulsion engine and jets and shit, sure, but we're not at that point in evolution yet. In order for us to reach that point in evolution, what we need to do actually is step down from Pisces into Aries, where we can begin to actually stop living through imagination. Stop identifying as a collective with what is imaginary. Because although the imagination is an incredible tool for manifestation, and it's extremely entertaining, and it makes everybody feel happy inside, at the end of the day, guys, what is most important is that we are following the script, that we are doing things in alignment with the universe. Because if we are not doing things in alignment with the universe, if we're trying to flip the entire script, if we're trying to turn the world upside down, essentially, we're just going to cause the apocalypse, and it's not going to be good. Okay, so I'm not even going to get too much into what differentiates the school of Pisces from the school of Aries. But the most important thing to take into consideration is that the age of Pisces is through the pineal gland. It's above the pineal gland, right? And the pineal gland is the thing that gives us the ability to manifest instantly. And it's funny because everything in our lives that we see around us is a manifestation of what is happening inside of our own imaginations. I mean, you right now looking into this screen, watching me inside of this box, is a reflection of your position within the cosmos. And the reason for that is because, I mean, every single key on your keyboard, the mouse that you're using, your telephone, the remote control, sunglasses, all of these things, hats, right? A cap, right? You cover your head with a cap. And what does that do? Well, it makes you cooler, all right? And it gives you the ability to express your imagination, okay? And that is the age that we are living in. From my perspective, I mean, don't get me wrong, if we as a collective decided we wanted to, say, switch to the age of Scorpio, we could. But we can only move into an age if we as a collective agree upon it, all right? If we don't agree upon it as a collective, then the chance of it happening is the same chance of getting struck by lightning 100 times in a row, because it's you versus the universe. And I'm sorry, but you can't win that fight. You will just find yourself falling deeper and deeper and deeper into the abyss of nothingness, because that is all that exists above the pineal gland. The only thing above is space, air and space. And space is a reflection of the microcosm. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to have the ability to get jet propulsion engines that can push the sun and rotate things however we want to rotate it. Let's do it. I'm down. But we have to stop living in our fucking imagination. We have to get real. And that is what Aries is real. It's reality. And why is it real? Because it's no longer governing the pineal gland. It's governing the face, which is... I mean, it is what it is, you know. It's the head of the snake, the head of the hydra, the buck, you know, the king of the mountains, the thing that dictates and controls what happens next. So it is highly important that we stop flapping around like fish, having a fun little time swimming through the streams of our emotions and lunar bodies and solar bodies, and we instead take a step down onto a level playing field where we can actually begin being again instead of just imagining. Because, I mean, it's fun and entertaining, but it's not gonna work. And if you guys want to think that I'm lying, and if you don't think I have enough evidence, that's fine. But I'm going to do my best over the next several weeks and months, and hopefully years, to give you guys all of the evidence and information you need for this claim that I'm making to be fully backed up. Because again, we want to be as in alignment with the universe as possible. We want our microcosm to be as in alignment with the macrocosm as possible, because all it's doing is giving us a green light saying, okay, go. It's time for you to take charge. And if you don't know that that green light is coming, then you just entirely miss your opportunity to manifest things into your life. And that's just how it is. Unfortunately, that's why there's such a heavy effort in keeping the type of information that I have to share suppressed. And realistically, it's unfortunate that people aren't interested in this kind of stuff, or at least they weren't in the past. But I believe now, as a collective, we've hit a point of desperation and fear and suffering that we are now ready to begin stepping down, all right? Because what's funny, guys, is that each one of these schools, each one of these zodiac signs, they correlate to an ecosystem within our world. They correlate to an animal. They correlate to a color. They correlate to a geometric shape. They correlate to a wonder, one of the ancient wonders. They all correlate to something, all right? And we can't just ignore that the entirety of history has always been built around the 12 zodiac system, which is a macrocosmic reflection of the 12 chakra system that we have in the microcosm. And so it's no coincidence that the Eastern philosophy, I don't know from your perspective if that's the correct direction, but sorry, I'm getting a little too hype here. Maybe that's somebody who just left. But yeah. So sorry, throat chakra. Focus on that. Yeah, you know, East Coast, or the Eastern culture, primarily identifies with the microcosm, the 12 chakra system, where Western culture primarily identifies with the macrocosm. Considering we're living in the age of Pisces, it's no surprise that those who are identified with what is happening above us have more power than those who are identified with what's happening below. But the thing that's funny is that those of us who are stuck up in space have no ability to experience any of the lower 11 or 10, 9, 8, 7 energy centers that we have. We're limited to this very tiny box of experience right here, okay? So it's really important that we wake up and we take control of our lives, because if we don't, then the only thing that's being manifested by a big enough portion of the world is the apocalypse, because the most amount of people in the world are vibrating at the emotion of fear and suffering. And again, that isn't something that we want. So the obvious choice is to end it, to close the chapter, to shut the book, to stop writing, to call it quits. But if we don't want to call it quits and we want to eventually build jet propulsion engines that can change the rotation of the sun and stuff, then let's instead step down for a second, recognize that we are currently at the top of the food chain, right? And if every single zodiac sign correlates and connects with an animal kingdom or an animal species at the very least, we have been dominating the entire universe for at least since the colonization of America. At least, you know, because prior to the colonization of America, Native Americans still embodied a great deal of Eastern culture, without knowing that it was Eastern. And it's a shame that we've taken their land and simultaneously made a mockery of all of the knowledge and wisdom of their cultures and never implemented it in the way that it was supposed to be implemented. And so I'm going to show you guys, and I don't have to do this alone. You guys can show yourself this stuff just by being interested in it, because I'm not the only person who's making content like this now. And that's part of the reason why I know it's time for me to start putting things on this channel again, is because there are numerous people out there who are doing exactly what I'm trying to do here, and they're finding a great deal of success with it. So I'm either just going about this entirely wrong. Maybe you guys just don't want to listen to somebody talk and you need super cool visuals on your screen all the time, because again, you're just trying to be entertained and you're not interested in actually gaining gnosis, which will give you the power that you need to take control of your life. And that's not my problem. So, you know, if I still am incapable of getting this information out to you guys, at the very least, the people who do get the opportunity to view this video, go take a look at my 3 favorite YouTubers at the moment. The one is Gene Hart. His YouTube channel is called Astral Doorway. The Alchemist, Sarah Eckhardley or something like that. I don't remember her last name exactly, but The Alchemist is her YouTube channel, and you may have trouble finding it because it's not a super easy one to find, but I'll make sure I try and find the logo and put it up for you guys on here. Because this stuff you have to dig for, guys. You have to dig for. You have to go down. Stop trying to rise and go up and party and be entertained and stuff. Let's get real, and let's take into consideration what it means to be out of balance and not in alignment with the universe, okay? And pay attention to the signs that are all around us, because that's the only way that we're ever going to be able to take control of our lives. And so shit, where was I? Animal kingdoms, I believe. We have been dominating the entire universe since at least the colonization of America. And we have put every single species, except for those that live in the ocean, of course, into a submission where they're incapable of even enjoying life. And what do you guys think happens when you die? When you die, get the decision. You get to decide and choose which form you wish to incarnate into next. That is heaven. To have complete freedom, to go into astral projection mode and be able to view the entire universe from any perspective that you desire to view it from. And that is what happens when you die. Despite all the things that people try to share and scare you with about reincarnation and being recycled and this, that, and the other, and heaven, hell, it's like, no, what happens is you reunite with collective consciousness. And we are dominating and have been dominating collective consciousness since at least the colonization of America. And if we don't get our frickin' heads out of our asses, basically, and recognize that we are supposed to be living in alignment with the cosmos, then we are not going to be able to avoid Armageddon, unfortunately. And if that happens, then we will greatly reduce our ability to experience the cosmos, because the amount of species and life forms through which we are able to experience said cosmos will be greatly reduced, right? So my proposal is that we step down from the imagination and move into the age of Aries as a collective. And in order for that to happen, enough of you guys need to be resonating with that statement and to understand what I'm trying to actually get at. Because until the collective consciousness makes the decision that that is what needs to happen, we are going to manifest Armageddon, and it's just a matter of time. So I'm not trying to put fear into you and try and make you do things as fast as possible, because really, this could very well just be the final, test, is to see how fearful we can possibly get. It's like a horror movie. People want to watch horror movies because it's exciting and entertaining. All things that would be similar to the life of a Pisces, exciting and entertaining. And that is essentially what we are doing right now, by experiencing the entirety of reality as some type of horror movie with potential zombie apocalypse, nuclear missiles, asteroids falling from the sky, false news, hundreds of different timelines. It's like, it's so freaking nuts and chaotic and crazy that we're all just on the tip of our seats, like, oh my god. So I'm sorry for my potentially excessive emotion that I'm putting into this right now, but I really just am this passionate about what I'm talking about. And the reason why is because I don't personally want to see the end of the world, and I think that I have the ability to reach enough people, so long as I'm able to bring people together and work towards a similar goal of not moving into the age of Aquarius, but stepping down and allowing ourselves to fall back into alignment with the cosmos, which requires acknowledging that the animal kingdom and the microcosm and the macrocosm are aspects of ourselves that we're neglecting to respect. And if we don't pay respect to entities, you and me, and everything else, at the time that the sun and the moon is in their sign, then you will absolutely experience negative karma as a result. And so I've spent 42 minutes talking about this. The past 22 minutes disappeared like that for me. I don't know where it went. I remember just a second ago I was talking about 19 minutes this, 19 minutes that. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up here, and I'll go ahead and post another video as soon as I'm done uploading this one that gives you guys a better description of what I'm trying to do on this channel. I do have several different introduction videos to several different playlists that I tried to create originally on this YouTube channel, but people change, intentions change, motives change, and so I'm going to go ahead and update my status and what it is that I want to bring to the table for you guys. So, yeah, that being said, since I know that all of you guys have lives and things to do, potentially and hopefully YouTube channels to check out and gnosis to gain, I'll go ahead and end the video here, and I'll see you soon. Hopefully, in just a couple of minutes or seconds. So, peace out, guys. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope we can finally start working together towards a common goal of stepping down from our position in the cosmos and beginning to respect the animal kingdom as well as the microcosm and the macrocosm. Because if we don't, then, as I have mentioned, we know where we're headed. And we know the consequences, at least if you believe what I'm saying. And if you don't, then that's fine, you know. Y'all can very well just think I'm crazy. Doesn't matter to me. And I'll give you guys evidence why and reasons why in future videos. But for now, we'll go ahead and leave this at relatively cordial and hopefully informational information. And I hope that you guys will check out the next video. So, peace out.